Oh, wow.
We made it.
Barely.
We got new chairs.
Yeah, everything's higher.
Yeah.
Everything-
And we're having to readjust everything.
Oh, am I sitting up straight? I feel like this, like, as long as I don't do this, it's okay. But like
this.
I can't do this the whole time.
We've talked about on the podcast before, I'm pretty sure, my fear of falling out of like tall chairs. Have we talked? We've talked about this, right?
Your fear of falling out of tall chairs.
Yeah,
it's
I've
very
done it.
fucking specific.
I'm pretty sure we
My
talked about this.
fear of sorry, I can't. My medicine hasn't kicked in yet. I'm not nearly as
Quick with it.
no.
When I was younger, we went to this restaurant. Like it was like our whole family. We went out to eat, like extended family and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And we were sat at one of those like tall tables that have the tall like bar stool type chairs. And I was leaning back in mine, and my mom kept telling me, "Don't lean back in your chair. Stop leaning back." And then I fell, busted my behind.
You have a lot of stories like that.
And now I'm afraid of.
Like you're afraid of squirrels because you tried to feed one as a kid. One time you like had a door fall on you.
Well, I'm not afraid of doors.
Thank God.
Could you imagine?
Like the people that are afraid of bridges, and like every time you go over a bridge, they have to like make it a big deal of every time you had to like get someone to walk you, like close your eyes and walk you through doorways.
Oh, God, I'd be insufferable. Even more than I already am.
Even more. No, oh my God. So it's Halloween time.
Yeah.
We've had lots of offset discussions of how we probably should get it together. And every time we have them, they mean something. And every time we walk away, everything is just like, doesn't mean anything anymore.
Because like real life comes back into play. And
It's rough out there, y'all. I just got Reels edited from episode 2. This is episode 6.
We're doing the best we can.
Debatable.
I mean,
I feel like we're doing the best
Listen,
that we think we can.
I feel like you only have so many spoons. We've talked about this on the podcast before.
Yeah. This was on the same episode as The Thing.
Yeah.
Yes, it was. Yes.
You only have so many spoons you can give out at once and use up at once. And our spoons are being used for different things.
The person that came up with that should be assassinated. We need to bring back bullying people for sure. If you want to bully me, like you guys, like go ahead. Like I don't really give a fuck. But some people just genuinely need it. Like,
So are we then on team like bullying makes people change? If you bully them about the things that are...
bullying builds character in the right way. Obviously, I don't think you should like shove people in lockers and stuff. But I'm not of the opinion that I have to act like something's not weird. Like, or something's like not stupid.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just not, I think everyone's so fake now. Like you'll see the dumbest fucking video. And then people in the comments go, "Good for you, baby. Live your life." And then I'm like,
You're so brave.
That's like bless your heart, but like people are trying to act like they're not being assholes. Like
It is. It's like the
you're
is it
so
the
brave.
is it the zillennial? The bless your heart?
The zillennial, it's zennial.
Zennial? Is that
Yeah.
what it is? Am I
Yeah.
thinking of like perennials? Is that
Yeah,
what's in
I
my
was
head?
like, it's not zillennial, it's zennial.
Well,
You're a
no,
millennial.
but it's
Kidding.
millennial and then Gen Z, zillennial.
It's not zillennial.
Are you sure?
Yes. Yes, there are not a lot of things that I'm confident about, and I know it's zennial.
Most things you can question me and then I'll start to doubt it. I am confident on
I
this.
know that it's zennial. It is not zillennial. That sounds like something that would have been in Xenon. Zillennial. Like a band.
Zetus Lapidus.
I want to go watch it. Those, you know what? Those were really good Disney Channel movies. Like those like were good, and then they just got weird.
Yeah, they did.
They got really
They
weird.
got bad. They turned into Teen Beach Movie,
Like
which is still dated. Like that still came out like 10 years ago.
I feel like pretty much after the Hannah Montana and Wizards time, I was out. Like I was out.
Well, as you should have been.
But like everything after that was just lame as fuck.
Let's talk about Hitler.
That'll make sense later.
I'm immaculately conceived.
I don't know what to do.
I swear I'm not stupid.
Take it or leave it. Sometimes you just want to leave it.
If I gotta borrow my mom's underwear, I'm borrowing her underwear.
You just, yeah.
Misa likes the Jar Jar Binks.
I'm not gonna edit it out.
Oh no.
I don't know. Like I think it was pretty great. Just saying on
Sucks
the
to
phone.
suck.
Why are you saying that with a question mark?
Clap, bitch.
All right. 3, 2, 1. Action.
And we're live. Listen, it's been a minute since I've said that. I'm getting back into the groove of it. I'm Anna.
I'm Jessica.
And this is Why Are You Yelling?
Wow. That was hard.
That was painful. So I had a couple things to talk about today.
Thank God. Yeah.
The first, I don't know which one we should do first. Okay. So the first one we'll talk about is there's this phenomenon called the what about me effect that I saw on Twitter. And I was like, oh, this makes so much sense. So the what about me sort of like effect phenomenon situation is when, and the person who's talking about it said that it is a combination of people being chronically online, but then also being very like how did she put it? It's like being narcissistic, but not like having narcissism. It's like self-centered, like it's the belief that like you are the main character in your own story sort of situation, right? So it's the combination of
But what if you are? You know, I mean, like what do you say? Like, I can't help it. I'm so popular.
But it's basically thinking that you're the main character and no one else is. And it's a combination of that and then being chronically online where even in situations where like things don't necessarily apply to you or maybe aren't meant for you, you say, but what about me? You somehow make it about you or pertain to you or try to center it around you.
Yeah.
So an example would be like, so say you find a recipe video on TikTok and they're making bean soup.
I'm allergic to beans. What about me?
Yes. You instead of thinking like, hey, or so they might the comments would be like, well, what if I don't like beans? How would I make this? Or what if I'm allergic to beans? Or can you substitute something for beans? Those are the comments and the thought process of centering it around yourself instead of thinking like, hey, maybe I don't need to be watching the video about bean soup. Maybe this isn't meant for me.
This goes back to what we talked about. Not everything is for everybody. Like the inclusion it's too far. Like, could you imagine Travis being like, well, why can't I be included in the Reese cup situation? Because you'll die.
You're allergic to peanuts.
You will die.
Yes.
But they should make peanuts that I can eat. Sorry, God doesn't want you to.
Go find a different candy.
So if you are allergic to peanuts, just so you know, there's a thing called Wow Butter. Tastes just like fucking peanut butter. I swear to God. I mean, and I'm like a peanut butter bitch. And so when me and Travis started dating, I had this naive idea because I was 15. I was like, so stupid. I was like, I just have to find like a favorite different candy because I inhale Reese cups. I mean, it's like actually a problem. If there is like a Reese cup bag near me, I will eat all of it, and it's gonna happen in probably one sitting. Like it's actually like, is it offensive to say it's like crack?
No,
because it is. It's literally like I'm just gonna eat it all.
Like crack.
She shaved off all her hair, came back, and now she's on a crack. So anyway. Then eventually that clearly fell apart because I love Reese's and I've known them longer than him. So, you know, it is what it is. So even like peanut butter and jelly sandwich, I love peanut butter. And I've ended up finding Wow Butter. And that shit, because the biggest problem with peanut butter substitutes is the consistency of them. Wow Butter has the exact same consistency as peanut butter. So that shit is delicious. But yeah, but they don't make Wow Reese cups. But I just wanted
You could make them if you wanted to.
Yeah.
If you want really.
What about me?
Yeah, make them yourself.
That is actually so lame because I see that all the time. And people hide behind being inclusive into being actually being selfish. Like narcissist. That's pushing it.
Narcissistic is a lot.
It's because like now we're all using terms.
It's just being self-centered.
Yeah, you're just being a brat. Like, do you go pick up a fucking vegan cookbook and go, well, I eat meat. What about me?
Exactly. And it's like, it's this like
stupid.
It's a seeming like lack of like self-awareness or a seeming lack of like common sense, because it's like, well, if you don't like beans and you're watching a video about bean soup, either one, don't put beans in it and use something else, or two, go watch a different video, make a different kind of fucking soup that doesn't have beans in it. God damn. But it's like, why can't you think these things? Why are we not being taught critical thinking skills, basic thinking skills, you know? And so the what about me effect also I think is parallel in relationship to the not wanting to look things up effect.
Not wanting to look things up effect.
Yeah. So maybe somebody is advertising a book. They put out like on their author, and they tweet out the cover of their new book, and they say this is coming out soon or whatever. Very excited about this new project. And then instead of like looking up information themselves to find the answer, the comments will all be like, is it available on audiobook? How much does it cost? Where can I buy it? What's it about? Instead, like things that you could very easily just click the link and read it, or Google the name of the author and find their website, or look it up on Amazon. It's probably on there. Instead of doing these very basic, simple steps, they just leave a comment and wait for somebody to reply to them. Yeah,
that's weird. Because I'm like, I'm an instant bitch. I'll just go find it myself. Now, the one thing that does piss me off, I hate when somebody, and this happens on Book Talk some, like, and it only really happens with like newer authors, so I'm not even trying to like talk shit, but it's something that is a pet peeve of mine. If you do have a book out and you're putting a scenario, a lot, because like one trend I see people doing is they'll talk about the, I guess, a portion of their book like it's a real life experience, and then you're like, oh my God, that happened to you? And that's actually, and it's really cool, because then you're like, they're like, no, it's my book. And I'm like, oh, cool. But like, where is it? So it's like in the video, you know, they're marketing it. But then in the description, they'll talk about, oh, this is actually my book. Can you tell me what it's called and if it's out? Otherwise, because I don't want to go look for something that's not out. Like, I hate that shit. That's annoying.
I've noticed there's this one particular author I follow on Instagram, and they do very similar things. Like, they are heavy into making, you know, reels and stuff that promote their books, which, yes, you definitely should. But they never put the title of the book in the caption. It's always in the pinned comment. And I'm like, I think for whatever reason, that's part of like Instagram's, for some reason, it's part of like their algorithm or whatever, that you should put it pinned in the comment and not in the caption. And I mean, you know, play the algorithm game, but it drives me insane, because I'm just like,
well, at least
just tell me.
But if it is in a pinned comment, at least I can click and I can see it. Because like sometimes I'm like, okay. But other times when it's like people are commenting like, oh, this is real. And then I see another comment that's like, oh no, guys, she's an author. This is about her book. I'm like, where's she talking about? Like, where's the book?
Yeah.
Is it out? Why are you making me go sifting these comments?
Why are you assuming people are going to click on your profile or like know that you're an author?
Or like, you know, and if you're trying to get me excited about your book, then at least say, hey, this is actually a little like snippet of my book.
Or literally just put the name of the book in the caption or in the comment.
And if it's not out yet, then I'd like to know that, because don't waste my time. If it is out, cool.
It has been, and I understand authors wanting to build pre-orders in anticipation for their books, but I'm like, no, you don't understand. If I see something promoting your book and it grabs my attention, I want to read it right now. I don't want to have to like keep coming back to it or follow you or wait for updates or put it in my calendar. It's coming out on November, whatever.
Well, like, no. If I'm going to do that, then I just want to go join a wait list or something and then get an email that it's out. Like, I don't care about that. I care about you just not, is it out? Okay, it's not. But is there a place for me to go and like be on a list for when it is out?
No.
Because if I can click on that, then I can go click. So my point is, though, if I'm like, if it is out and the link's right there, for me to go click on like her Amazon, or if it's in their bio or whatever, because they have those storefronts and stuff, maybe that's just as much work for me to go buy it than like for me to just be on a wait list if I like the idea that much. But I'm like, I just hate when you have lack of information. But I do hate too when it's like all the actual information is there, then people, like you're saying, they're like, is it on audio? Is it this? Is it that? Is it dark romance? Is it, bitch, why don't you get the fuck out of here?
Like, I don't mind.
Like, you're fucking
I don't mind having to go find some information, but it needs to be easy for me to find.
Yes.
It needs to be all right there.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't need to be hidden. I don't need to have to guess. I don't want to have to scroll through all the comments to figure out what the fuck I'm trying to find.
No.
But like, I'm okay with doing the work. Just don't make it harder than it needs to be.
Don't make it practically fucking impossible, or I will move on. I will just be out of here. Do you know something that is so weird to me? Speaking of like, a Book Talk, and what did you call the Instagram one that completely threw me.
Bookstagram. 'Cause I'm
Bookstagram.
not on TikTok like that, so
Yeah.
it's not book talk for me. It's Bookstagram.
But that makes sense. But I just didn't. I was like,
you were like, the fuck?
I said,
I'm offended.
I was like, ew. But I will say, so I have two things, because one is about book talk, but then the Bookstagram thing. Okay, the first thing, I loved TikTok for a long time because I felt like my For You page was perfect, right? I had noticed lately, it's not that great anymore. Like, I've seen videos I've already liked, and by that, I mean the actual video I hearted, not just like a repost of the video. So that's weird because that never used to happen. Or it's shit that's just not something I would ever want to see. Or it's just dumb shit that I'm like, this isn't even tailored to like my funny haha time.
Mm-hmm.
But then I go over to Instagram and I'm like, like, because I'm different, a dark sense of humor. But no, like, really, I like funny ass stupid memes. I like dark ass shit because it's fucking funny.
Let me tell you what, my Instagram algorithm knows exactly what I want to see, and
And
it shows it to me. No complaints.
Well, I also think less gets taken down on Instagram, and because TikTok definitely tries to sanitize certain things. So like, even if it's offensive and you share it with somebody, there's a solid chance it will be taken down by the time they see it. And on TikTok, on Instagram, Travis will send me some of the most horrendous shit, and I'm like, it's still there, and it ain't going nowhere. But it's funny, and it's whatever. And so I'm like, people are meaner on Instagram, though, for sure. But no, what I was getting at is, like, I didn't know this, but someone was talking about how the servers for TikTok got moved from China to here in the US. And they're like, anyone else notice our For You page kind of sucks? And I was like, yes. Is that why? Because I don't even have fun scrolling TikTok anymore. I really don't do it that much.
The travesty.
So, well, I'm just like,
welcome to Instagram.
Because I'm like, it's starting to feel like, it's starting to feel like little kid Disney over there sometimes, where I'm like,
feels a little juvenile.
Yeah. And I'm like, but like in a weird, cutesy, teeny bop kind of just a way I'm not into, like basically how Disney Channel got lame. Like, it's not that yes, Disney Channel, obviously you grow out of it, but I feel like that I still think the shows, I could go watch the shows I watched when I was that age, like Boy Meets World. That's a good fucking show. Sisters, good show. I mean, Wizards of Waverly, Hannah Montana are slightly more juvenile-ish, and so that's more of nostalgia, but like, Disney actually used to put out good shit that you could have watched in your late teens, maybe if 20 or something.
You know, it's interesting to me that
now it's like you have to be 5.
That TikTok as a social media platform would be so geared toward making a platform safe for younger people. Not necessarily safe as in like, I mean safe in terms of like the type of content, like you said, very sanitized content. Just because like most other social media platforms, like it's a minimum age of 13. You can't join it till you're 13 years old because they know that like this is not a place for little children.
No.
And even then, up until you're like 18, you can have certain like parental controls and stuff set up too.
Which I'm sure you can on TikTok, and I don't know the guidelines, so like I don't know how old they say you're supposed to be. But it's just the content is so.
Yeah, but I feel like in terms of marketing, if we're talking about like, so the reason that you might want to have like, you know, make it to where content that isn't has as much profanity or isn't like sexual content or isn't like super like graphic violence or anything like that is because you want to serve up ads on that content, right? It's the same with the whole adpocalypse thing on YouTube. The adpocalypse?
Yeah, what's that mean?
When Logan Paul was in Japan and found the body in the suicide forest.
Adpocalypse. That's what that was called?
Yeah.
I just knew that was a suicide. I knew what he did.
No, the consequences of that video. It changed everything. You don't know about the adpocalypse? Girlfriend, where have you been?
Well, I just didn't know, like, I've never heard of adpocalypse. I mean, I know what he did, and I know it was a big deal because, like, obviously he put a dead body on the internet.
Yes, but then so when that happened, advertisers started pulling out from YouTube and freaking out saying, like, this is the kind of content you have on your platform that you're putting our ads next to.
Yeah.
Like, it was this whole big thing. So that's when YouTube like dramatically changed the whole like their whole advertising sort of landscape of like they started restricting more videos and like they came out with like the self-reporting like your content as suitable for ads. They rolled that out. Like it was this whole thing about like people started making less money on YouTube after that.
Way to fucking go, stupid.
Yeah. So, but it's the same sort of like thought process of like, I get that whole mindset of like want to make sure the content that you're putting ads on is suitable for your advertisers, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, you have to like respect the fact that like, to me, social platforms are geared more toward being like adult spaces.
Yeah,
right?
You would think they should be.
Because like the purchasing power, right? Well, when we're talking about marketing, purchasing power lies with adults.
We'll see, but then the other argument is like if you gear, the more you try to sell to kids, the more you're probably going to sell because then you're going to have the parents buy them all this stupid shit they want. But yes, I agree.
But also, it goes back. Part of marketing is like making things cool, and people as they get older want to feel young still, so they start to like they see what the young people, teenagers and children like, and then they start to then consume that stuff too.
Yeah.
And start to, because they want to be associated with that and find it cool. So like I get the balance of wanting to attract teenagers between 13 and 18.
Yeah. I think they're easier to sell to too. Like, especially like if you're a YouTuber and your audience,
they're more influential. But
yes.
Again, it's more about like influencing them so that they're getting their eyeballs and stuff makes it cool. So that, it's when the 13 to 18 is interested in something and find something cool, then 19 to 24 is buying that, right? They're like then shifting their focus toward that and like spending their money on that, and then whatever 18 to 24 is doing, then 25 to 36 or whatever is then it all kind of like
I'm influenced by children.
White leg jeans.
Is that by children though? I feel like this is just what we should have been doing for a while. I am in love with these jeans that like don't grab every part of my leg. Because I'm a wide calf girl, so let me tell you something. But yeah, that's fucking wild. But no, TikTok just gotten lame. Like it's just like not nearly as funny. The only thing I like it for now is to basically see Taylor Swift content. It's pretty much all it's gotten good for. Because I'm like, okay, let me see her. Because I appreciate all of you who are watching the Chiefs games right now and then basically getting all the clips of Taylor for me to see. Because I'm not watching that game. I am just not. Like,
see, and like I'm not on TikTok, but I am still getting served up that same content on Instagram and on Twitter. Like, so I'm still getting what I need.
Like I just
without
need
TikTok.
I'm just not like, no.
You can get what you need from other places.
It's just too much. But so one thing on Book Talk though that has tripped me out is the openness of fan fiction. Because I'm like, this was a shameful secret that you kept inside of yourself for years. And now you have authors who are open that they write fan fiction and people follow it. And I'm like, damn, man, I really missed the train on that because I have written some bomb-ass fan fiction. And I'm not telling you what it's called. I'm not that comfortable. But like, and it's done really well. And to this day, I haven't updated it in like, I'm talking years and years and years. Like those videos that are like me waiting for my fan fiction that hasn't been updated in 10 years to be updated. That's me. Like because what's crazy, it's just wild. Like and it's on an old school one. It's on fanfiction.net. All right. No one will use it. Well, people still use that though. But that's like one of the old school ones. Most people are on like Archive. And I never got into Wattpad.
The fact that you call it Wattpad?
Wattpad?
Yeah.
Watt?
Like WATT?
It's called Wattpad?
I mean, that's like watts on a kilowatt. Like
Wattpad.
Yeah.
That just feels weird.
Wattpad?
Wattpad. Because it looked dumb. Yeah, that was me. What the fuck is a Wattpad? What the fuck was we on that shit? All I thought was I just assumed it was all One Direction fan fiction. And I just never got on that Wattpad. My bad.
Well, I know that there's like
and there was Tumblr, and I didn't really get into Tumblr because I feel like you really just had to be on Tumblr as it began in order to really understand it, or otherwise it was just porn.
I mean, I like Tumblr. I was on it for a good bit. Like it was cool for like aesthetic things.
Yeah.
It was
like MySpace in a way, wasn't it? Where you could have like an aesthetic little place. Isn't it like a blog basically?
Yeah, it's like a blog. It was more of I would say it was closer to Pinterest for aesthetics. Mm-hmm. And that's a lot of what it was used for. It's definitely like a vibe mood board sort of thing, but then like lots of quotes and stuff. Yeah. I mean, I like Tumblr.
I remember that. I had a Tumblr for like 2 seconds, and that was when I was going to start documenting me every day until I graduated high school, and then I didn't because I was done with that.
Yeah, and Tumblr, I feel like either you were a like blogger, you were making the content, or you were a curator.
Yeah.
You were curating a cool feed and people followed you because you had a good feed that they wanted to see the stuff you were reblogging and stuff. But I was going to say with people being super open about fan fiction and stuff. So there's a couple of like series and stuff where like, somebody has written like fan fiction, but from like another character's point of view. So they'll write the whole book from a different character's point of view. But like people have gotten to the point where like the fan community will accept that almost as like a in universe, like a canon interpretation.
Yeah, that was something that I had experienced, right? So,
and it literally gets huge across like the whole fandom is aware like that this this retelling from this other character's point of view, they're like, oh no, this is like a faithful like adaptation.
Or even like certain little like some things get so used in fan fiction that the lines get blurred whether that's canon or not. And that happened to me where I read so many stories about Snape being Draco's godfather for some reason. Like I read so many where that was just mentioned for some reason in my head for years. I was like, oh, really?
I mean, I'm pretty sure in the books and in the series, he's like tasked with like he kind of like looks out for Draco.
He looks out for him,
Hogwarts
and then
stuff.
in the sixth one, Narcissus like makes the unbreakable vow and things with him. So I don't know if that just
evolved.
It just evolved within the fan fiction world. So when I was writing a story, I thought that was canon and it wasn't. But I went and changed it because I did what you said, but slightly different. I had written a story where it was through a different character's perspective, but they also got placed in a different house. And how would that story have went, basically? And it was fun, but then I just like got real life happen.
Yeah, but I've seen where like some people will do have you ever heard of like a tandem read? Basically, you're reading two books at the same time, but you go back and forth between them. So like,
I mean, sometimes when I just do that.
No, it's done intentionally. It's like there's a plan. There's specific chapters where you switch back and forth. So like, but they'll do like a tandem read where like I saw this one person, they were reading the book and then they were reading the fan fiction version of that book that was from the other character's perspective. And so they're like, okay, about to start my tandem read, and so they'll go like chapter by chapter back and forth to read. And I'm like, that's kind of interesting. That was a different sort of like reading experience.
I had to do that when I was writing.
Yeah. And then
I had to have the first book open the whole time because it was so true to whatever.
Well, there's this other series. So are you familiar with the author Sarah J. Maas?
No.
She wrote A Court of Thorns and Roses, Crescent City. She's very popular.
I'm sorry.
So there's one of her, I think it's in the Crescent City series. There's two books that are basically like they take place at the same time, but they're but they cover two different events kind of and different sections of like different groups of characters. And so a lot of people have like the fan community has come up with this like reading guide. So you can,
that's cool.
They're literally, and it kind of happens throughout the series too, where you can do a completely chronological reading where they're like, okay, these are the books and these are the chapters, a chapter breakdown of how to read it chronologically.
That's a lot.
But like specifically these like two books, they're very thick books where it's like, okay, read these 3 chapters from this one, then you're going to switch over to these, then you're going to go back and forth, then read this chunk and this chunk. And so it's like, they call it a tandem read where you're back and forth so that like, I mean, it's the same sort of principle as like,
it seems like switching perspectives.
Yeah, exactly. Or like, so like in Game of Thrones, the books and the TV series, you have so many moving parts, so many characters, but you kind of have like, each episode is like 3 or 4 main sort of groups of people in different places. And so every couple of minutes, you're kind of switching back and forth, following the plots of these different characters, but you never really get lost. And so I'm like, that's an interesting, I've never done anything like that. I'd be interested to try it and see how it changes my perspective of things.
I would also get annoyed mostly because I'm like, I gotta put this book down
and
now
pick up the
other book. That's when I'm like, give me the Kindle.
Well, so what they do is like I've seen people where they tab it, so they have different color coded tabs, and so they'll like switch back and forth, and they'll like number them too. And
Oh,
so
wow.
that they go back and forth between the books.
This is a lot of work.
I'm like,
guys.
I would need a checklist, y'all.
This is a lot.
Yeah.
This is a lot.
Because every time you get to a new tab, it's like, okay, now I got to switch to the next one.
Because I feel like I want to start reading soon, like more, because I used to love to read.
Mhm.
And I don't know whether, part of me is like, I probably just need to get like an actual Kindle because I don't know that I have enough space for books, but I love books. Like I love a book. I've been guilty of like having the book on like my iPad that I bought like through the Kindle thing.
Mhm.
And then still buying the book anyway.
Mm.
Because I just love books.
Well, I pay for Kindle Unlimited, which is
I did for a while, yeah.
which is a subscription you get through Kindle where you can borrow books,
Mm-hmm.
and it's unlimited because you can borrow as many books as you want.
Did you borrow up to 10 like at a time? So you have to return
I think they changed it to 20.
20, okay.
Yeah, but basically you can borrow up to a certain number at one time. It works just like a library. I've been paying for that consistently. I've never canceled it, and I've been paying for that for like over 10 years now, I think. Yeah. Because I read a shit ton.
Yeah.
And so
You do read a lot. You can, when we took that trip to Virginia, you can read it in the car. I can't do that. I'll
Yeah.
get sick.
reading in the car isn't so bad for me. I get motion sick when I'm like staring out and
Yeah.
too long and they get whipped around in back seats of cars. That's rough. I can't. Or like super bumpy roads. But yeah, so yeah, I read a ton. And Kindle Unlimited is great. And I don't really read physical books too much anymore, but I borrowed one from my sister.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I kind of enjoy it's easier on the eyes for sure. And I kind of enjoy having like a physical thing to hold.
But that's
like,
the
and
point
turn
of
the
like
pages.
legitimate Kindles, right? Because you have like a Kindle Fire tablet type thing, and like the Kindles that are like, the softer light ones, those are supposed to be easier on your eyes too, right? Because they're more like paper.
Yeah, they're the technology on those, it's more
It's
like
e-ink stuff.
Yeah, it's more similar to like think of like an Etch-a-Sketch almost.
Yeah.
How it's supposed to resemble, it's like magnets and like lead almost kind of. It's similar to that. That's how like the pages almost turn and change and stuff like that.
So I was thinking of getting like an actual like tablet that's like the e-ink kind of readers, because it's easier on your eyes and looks more like a book, like at least the pages, rather than like that, like my iPad. Because I'm like, I could read on that, but sometimes
definitely
I'm like,
easier to read outside for sure. I've definitely had I've tried to take my Kindle to the beach before and it just doesn't work out great because it's too bright.
What was the other thing you had?
The other thing,
You're like, I don't know, it's gone.
oh, so apparently on TikTok, there's this guy who is a former school shooter.
Oh, fuck me. Yeah.
Who has have you seen this?
Yep.
He has a TikTok. He went to prison for like 17 years or something, did his time, got released, and now he's like putting out content about how he used to be a school shooter and how he like helps the police and stuff like that. And I was a little bit like, what?
No, he shouldn't have a platform. He shouldn't be allowed on the internet.
Yeah.
I fully believe that. I'm not going to change my opinion about it. I think I watched this teacher who, she's like a former teacher now. She teaches like in this private place that she used to teach public school, and was talking about her opinion on it. And she was basically saying that like she doesn't believe he should have a platform because, I mean, she listed all these reasons, and it all boiled down to like, it takes a certain type of person to go do something like that. And whether you want to say he's capable of being reformed or not, I think that there are certain crimes that you
don't get to come back
There's
from.
not redemption from that. I don't think if you molest a child, there's redemption from that. I don't think if you shoot up a school, there's redemption from that. And I know the only reason he's out is because he didn't actually kill anybody. He shot, I think, a teacher. I don't think they died though. And so I'm just like, the fact that he's allowed to have a platform at all and talk, and some people are eating it up like he's some educational like piece of, I don't understand. Like, I don't get it. Like, I don't understand why people are absorbing this like they're learning something from him. When if he was, then okay, go talk to psychologists. Why are you online talking to people, talking to children, talking to anybody who's going to watch you? I think it's dangerous. And I think that it also is implying that, oh, well, I might have a life after I do some horrendous act like that. I just think it's stupid. I don't think he should have a platform. And it's like, I don't understand how it's allowed at all. But I've seen people get banned for just saying something stupid. And I'm not into it.
Yeah. I
think it's weird.
I think that it boils down to, for me, for someone to, like you said, it takes a certain kind of person to get to the point where they would even consider, much less follow through with attempting or actually shooting up a school.
Yeah.
It takes a certain kind of person to do that. And I think that anything he says or does at this point feels manipulative.
Yeah.
And it feels like you didn't get enough, fame for what you attempted to do 17, whatever long ago.
I didn't know who he was.
And that now you have seen, you're utilizing this, and you see this as your chance to get the fame that you didn't get for attempting what you did.
Yeah.
And for doing what you did. Not attempted, you did it.
Yeah, and I just don't, I think so many people are missing the point that it's like, no, this person literally attempted a school shooting.
They don't get to be happy.
Like,
you don't get to have anything good happen to you ever again.
Well, and I mean, if you are, I just don't think it needs to be displayed on such a public level.
Mm-hmm.
I think there are some things, like, we've lost our fucking minds, that we've gotten too comfortable. Some things should be shameful fucking secrets.
Yes.
You should have changed your fucking name and moved on with your life and act like you never fucking did that. And then privately maybe speak with, investigators or psychologists who want to study the psychology behind that. I don't think there's anything positive coming from him on a public platform talking about any of this. Mm-hmm. All of those should be signs. Like, even then, even doing a program where he talks to school counselors or like people so they can maybe have a better insight on the children that in their schools now. That's all educational, but that needs to be given to the people that can actually like learn from that and need to learn from that.
That's when you do a workshop that's held at a conference room in a hotel.
Yes.
Like, and then the school pays for it. Like, and
yes,
the teachers go
and it's
do
also, it's not just him. It's like he's working with a certain organization that's helping figure out what information is important. Yeah, they're like, this is what's important we're going to talk about. And here's like the open panel to ask him questions and things like that. But him just having this platform talking free, it's just fucking weird. And I think it's disturbing and it's disgusting. And that's just it. I mean, people have got to quit acting like, oh, I don't give a fuck if he has a mental illness. He's a piece of shit who tried to go kill people. I don't care how he felt. Because the second that you're going to go harm other people over your feelings, that's just fucked.
Yeah, I mean, I think that there comes a point when you have to stop trying to humanize literal demons.
Yeah.
Like, no, we need to demonize these people. Like, you don't need to humanize them. You don't need to try and make me more sympathetic or empathetic toward them.
No.
I ain't got it for you. Sorry.
Well, and I think that's, goes back to something we've talked about before, where I feel when it comes to the gun violence talk in America to begin with, is I know a lot of people, they think it's a mental health problem, and I'm not disagreeing with that, but I also think there's a problem with us trying to humanize these demons and making them famous. That's part of a problem too. They just need to go. There's no reason that kid at Parkland should not have been given the death penalty and should be killed. But no, he wasn't. That's disgusting and disturbing. And why should the parents be paying for that monster to be alive in prison for the rest of his life? Their tax dollars are paying for him, but their children are dead. I think
I'm fully in support of the death penalty. I think that too many
100%
people are left alive that don't need to be. Like, not everyone, I'm not on this kumbaya bullshit. Like, no. Some people are too dangerous and some people don't deserve to have life anymore after you do certain things. Like, I think
when it's proven without a doubt that you obviously did this crime, I understand the whole, well, what if they're proven innocent? That boy did it, y'all. He got to go.
I'm like, if you display a lack of regard for human life in that way, we as a society don't need to have any sort of regard for your life.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Like, that's just, it is what it is.
I'm also of the opinion that I'm like, I don't really see the point in someone being in prison for 40, 50, 60, 70 years, like, because of the money that we're having to then pay for them to be alive. I think if someone's not capable of reform within like a 10-year time, they got to go. And most of those people are going to be extremely violent offenders who don't have regard for human life. So why are they here? Why are they here? Like, There's a difference. Like, I don't think you should be in jail for 20 years for selling drugs.
Yeah, it comes back to like with prison, is it punishment or is the purpose of prison punishment or is it reform?
Well, there's that, and how much money do people make from the prison system? Because half of the prisons are private. So I'm like, it's an entirely fucked system.
I think your belief in the death penalty or your belief in, you know, the prison system, if it works or not, or if people, because when you say if you can't be reformed within a 10-year period, why are we even trying? I mean, that comes down to, is prison punitive? Like, is it punishment or is it for reform? What's the purpose of it? And really, I don't think it's wrong to say either one. I think you are justified in viewing it as either one.
Yeah.
But I don't think our current prison system is capable of functioning to do both at the same time.
Neither.
I do not think the purpose of prison should be to both punish and to reform. There are certain people, as we have all seen, that are capable of being reformed and capable of turning their lives around and making changes and contributing like good members of society. Mm-hmm. And there are other people where it should be a punishment and like that's what you get and we know you're not going to change. And so this is the punishment that you get and that's it.
And I think some people got to go. There is just no reason for some people to commit the crimes that they commit that are so horrendous to like humanity. And then, he gets to live. That Parkland kid should have been on public display for all of us to watch die.
She said, bring back public hangings.
No, like, I'm serious. Like, that's not, like, I feel like there are consequences to people's actions. And it's like, if you do something like that, people who want to do that should see those people have a bag over their head, never get famous. I don't want to know his name. And he just needs to be publicly executed. And that's it. It's like, why are we playing games here trying to act like they're not literal demons? And menaces to society. They are. And they need to go.
Yeah. I mean, the purpose of public executions, public hangings was to set an example. It was a warning.
Like, now that we've set an example that you can do that and then you can just be in prison the rest of your life and then cry and say how sorry you are. I don't give a fuck if you're sorry, you piece of shit. You need to go. You're disgusting. Like, you're an actual piece of shit. Like, it's just fucking so twisted. It's sick and twisted. And yeah, that guy's like is so fucking weird. I didn't even watch this whole video because I'm like, ew, you fucking creep. I'm not watching this shit, and I'm not gonna help you get a goddamn dollar.
Yeah.
Like, that's the other thing. He's making money off of talking about how he was a school shooter on a public platform. You know, I understand, obviously, if he was doing the private stuff we talked about, he'd probably make some kind of contracting money. Okay, whatever. But, like, there's just something inauthentic and weird about it. Like you said, it's like, oh, let me get the fame this way. But I'm going to, like...
There's a difference between providing a service for the sake of humanity and trying to better people, right? So if you do these sort of private, like, workshops... Mm-hmm. There's a difference between that and providing a service versus putting your face in front of people and saying, yeah, I'm a reformed school shooter or a former school shooter and I help people, and putting your face out there and growing like a platform and growing a following. Like, that's different.
And some people are going to have the argument that, like, oh, well, that might come across somebody's feed who's feeling the same way and then see that, like, okay, he felt this way too, and obviously he regrets it and this and that, and they're going to try to act like basically this might reach the right person
and help prevent
something. And I understand that perspective, but I also am like, there are some things we've got to put our foot down on. That's fucking weird. That's just fucking bizarre. Like, could you imagine? Okay, let's just imagine that a pedophile who never molested a child, but wanted to, went to therapy, and they're reformed, and they get on TikTok and they say, hi, I'm a former pedophile. Are you gonna watch that shit? I bet you're not, because it's fucking weird. It's fucking weird. Shut up. Nobody wants, just keep it to yourself the rest of your life and don't tell anybody. Some things don't, just die with it. Done for real. Some things you should die with and never speak out loud. We don't have to accept everything about everybody, especially if we don't know.
Let's normalize shame.
Let's normalize that some things are shameful and you should keep them to yourself. That's just it. That's what I thought fan fiction was, and apparently it's not.
We've normalized things that should be shameful.
We have normalized things that are just like
fan fiction and pedophiles.
they're trying to, man. They're like, it's a mental. I'm not disagreeing that
fan fiction is a mental illness.
Bruh, I think it caused a mental illness. That shit. There's some shit on there that nobody got business reading. It's sick and twisted. Some of it's just literally a retelling of a story, and it's completely fine and innocent. Some of it's weird. It's weird, y'all. And you're just like,
no one better accidentally see me reading this.
You ever click on a fan fiction and you're like, whoa. And then you're like, I'm gonna leave.
But then you just
keep gonna leave.
One more chapter and then I'm out of here because this is weird.
I have read some odd ones, and it wasn't because I was like, oh, I secretly like this. I was like, could it get any worse? Yes, it did. And then I was out. Once some things happen, you're like, you know.
You never come back from that.
There's some things that happen that you're like, you know, I'm done now. I'm traumatized.
Time to walk away.
Yeah, I'm just, So yeah, that person should cancel themselves. Just get off the internet and just be shameful of your secret and change your name. You're welcome.
Yeah.
You know something I realized?
What?
We say Okie, and I don't know who started it.
You did?
I did. Did I start Okie?
You started. Okay. So, okay. Okie. So we do this thing when we're texting each other that sometimes it's just okay is the reply, but more often than not, it's okay, i.e. Okie.
Okie.
Because that's like cutesy happy okay.
Yeah.
If it's just regular okay, it's like, oh, someone's pissed.
It's
Someone's
weird
upset.
how you get used to how people type.
Mm-hmm.
There's this, you know, the Olivia Rodrigo song where she's like, I pay attention to things that other people ignore. And there was a whole trend where people would use that sound and then they would put the things that they notice other people ignore. And I'm like, I think texting language and just, I'm really good at that. I know when someone's pissed. Don't act like it's, I'm reading into it because I'm always right.
She's never wrong.
Or if someone's just mad or something's off with
she
somebody
always
in person.
knows. Like,
I'm
you
like,
got that ESPN.
I got that ESPN. Yeah, I do. It's a curse. It's bad.
You're never wrong.
Which is exhausting. Dina, it's so annoying when it's like, you're probably reading into it. And I'm like, I really, really wish I was. Like, I wish that I could go.
You try to gaslight yourself.
And then I'm like,
because you're like, no, maybe it's not that. And I'm just reading too much into it. And like, no, but you're never wrong.
And then
you're always right.
Because eventually I'm a bitch. I'm just going to ask. I'm not going to sit here and wonder for days and days. Like, are they mad? I'm going to straight up be like, yo, are we cool? Or are you mad about this or this and that? And then every time it's like, yep. And I'm like.
And you usually know what it's about too.
Yeah, I normally know what it's about. That's just years and years of having to be extremely in tune with other unstable people in my life. Thank you. I'm trying to think of a funny way to put it. There's not a funny way. Them abused children know what I'm talking about. No, I'm kidding. No, I'm neurodivergent, so I'm just different. I got ADHD, so I'm different. Nah. Growing up with crazy people, you just get in tune with how other people are, man. You're like, I'm very in tune with how everybody feels in the room at all times. And if anything is off about their behavior that I'm used to, the slightest thing, I'm like.
And I'm not at all. I'm the complete opposite. I'm very unobservant and oblivious to a lot of things.
Nah, I'll be like, they mad.
I can't tell you how many times you've been like, Anna, read the room.
I'm like, shut the fuck up. Well. On that note, fuck off. No, I'm kidding.
Rude. We'll talk to y'all next time.
Read the room. All right.
Bye.
Bye.
We hope you enjoyed that episode, and if you did, you should totally hit that like and subscribe button. You can follow us everywhere at WAYYPOD. And remember, don't be ugly, dumb, or stupid. We'll talk at you next time. Bye.